How's it going, everyone? Welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a very basic, just how to learn For Honor, and I'm just going to expand that to games like it and games in general, for being 100% honest. My beginner guide, as you may notice, I am on my PC account. I'm not on my main account, so I don't have everything unlocked like I do on my main. Not everything, but we're kind of going to just go over basic rules when it comes to stuff like this. My beginner guide, people said that I was speaking gibberish and it was hard to kind of figure everything out, so I'm just going to give 6-7 basic steps to learning games like this. Number one seems obvious, but you want to stay calm. You want to choose a character that's not only fun for you, whether that's a character that's meta because you like to win, whether that's a character you just enjoy playing, whether that's a character that has moves and something that you really enjoy, so you can try to stay calm and focused when you play. I know those can sometimes contradict. Sometimes you're calm when you're not focused, sometimes, so it's whatever. It doesn't really matter. But regardless of the situation, you could be put in a 1v4 in this game, you could be put in a duel against someone of much greater skill level. You just kind of need to stay calm, not lose your tempo and control. That goes for Tekken, Mortal Kombat, stuff like that. Rainbow Six, if you're left in a 1v4, 1v5, 1v3, it's hard. You're being left in a really bad situation, and you need to clutch up. But you'll get the jitters and stuff like that if you're overreacting. You might, some people have like the adrenaline rush and all that kind of stuff. Staying calm can help because it'll allow you to help make reads and focus a little bit better. So the actual first step is choosing a character. Of course, you want to find someone you enjoy. Whether that's play style, as I said, you could meta chase, you can kind of do whatever. Whoever really stands out to you. Warden, for me, I enjoyed for the look and the aesthetic. He used to be meta for a little bit. I don't know if he still is meta. I don't keep track of that very much. I know for a fact I win a lot more when I played Highlander, so I'm not 100% sure who is considered the best. So choose your character. Number two, you don't want to go into practice mode and kind of learn what your character is capable of. You could also watch a tutorial, kind of whatever, but you kind of want to get a feel for your character. So as far as just watching a tutorial, if you learn that way, that's good. Me, I'm more of a hands-on person. I can watch a tutorial, but I need to do it while I'm watching. That way you're actually learning while you're going. So I would recommend going into, practice mode, training. You could even do a custom match, just get used to your character, get an idea what you can do. You don't have to have an amazing idea. Like, I'm not saying you need to learn every little thing that your character can do. You don't need to learn that to get used to the game. And keep this in mind. If you're just a very good defensive person, you have a very good reaction time, you don't need to know setups. You don't need to know a lot of stuff. That's why they've continuously changed things about the game. They wanted things to be unreactable. You could win if you just could react and parry lights, parry heavies, parry this. So long as you were quick and you had extremely good defense, you could win pretty easily. So number three, I would recommend fighting bots for a little bit, just so you kind of get the hang of it. And it's not a player that's just going to steamroll you because they know your character better than you. So I would play against some bots. If you're not new to the game, you have a higher level account, my PC account, my Xbox account, you're going to end up fighting level 3 bots. It can be slightly harder, but it also could be considered slightly easier because you're more used to the game. You know the matchup a little bit better, which leads into number 4. I would recommend learning some of the matchups. Granted, there are a lot of characters in this game. It's not like Tekken, where every single character has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of moves, and it's extremely difficult. Personally, when I played Mortal Kombat X and 11, I learned all the matchups when I was really into it. I knew, what was negative, what was plus, what was I knew all that. I can't say I know that anymore. And back when I was really into For Honor, I knew roughly how to get out of a lot of situations. I don't know that now. And I'm not some professional player. We'll get into stuff like that later. And when I say learn matchups, note this, right? It's same rules Tekken, same rules Mortal Kombat. Learn the popular characters, the ones that you are going to see constantly. I'm going to use Centurion as an example here, or we could even use Warden as an example, okay? We'll use Warden. How about we use Warden? Okay, Warden, let's say you see him every single day, so you want to learn the matchup. That makes sense. As most characters, I don't know if they've changed this, so please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to be giving false information. Light attacks, if he lands his double light, he can then go into a heavy attack. He could go into a bash, and there are 3 levels to his bash. But any character that lands a light attack normally means that they are at minus frames. So if he hits you with a light and then doesn't do anything, it is technically your turn. If he hits you with a heavy, it is his turn, within reason. Some things are very slow, so if he hits you with a heavy and then goes for a top heavy, you can interrupt him. But that's more high-level stuff than it is. This is mainly just, you know, getting into the game and learning it. So that'll be, you know, as you're learning. But the number one thing I recommend learning when it comes to trying to learn a matchup, I have a little whiteboard wrote on here. You want to know what your basic Punisher is. So if you parry something, you want to know roughly what you get. And most of the time, if you parry a heavy, you get a light. Warden, if you're playing Warden, you get the side lights, the ching-ching, you know, you get the 2. Which is the higher damage over just doing a top light. So you want to make sure that you're doing the side because you'll get more damage. Orochi, his is the top lights where he gets smash slash, unless they've changed it. Again, it's been a minute for me. And you want to just, general rule, try to figure out the advantages that the character has and the disadvantages that the character has. A weakness, right? And you want to know their general game plan. Warden wants to get you into a 50-50 situation. He wants you to guess. If he's going for a bash, level 1 bash means he gets 2 lights. He gets his light attacks. A level 2 bash means he gets his light attacks. And a level 3 bash gives him a top heavy. Now, there's different options to deal with all of those. For instance, if you know he just keeps bash, 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 and he's just doing level 1 over and over and over again, you can dodge that and you can grab him, and then that guarantees you a heavy. If you have a dodge attack, you could do that as well. If he's the level 2 one is the more difficult one, because if you dodge, and if you dodge perfect timing, if you get used to the timing, like you see Warden all the time, you can dodge for level 1 timing, and then you can dodge for level 3 timing. So he'll miss either the level 1 or the level 3, meaning you avoided the fastest one and you avoided the heaviest hitting one. And that should be when a Warden would start using level 2, because that will catch you after your dash. So he wants to put you into a guessing scenario, and his second heavy is unblockable, which puts you into a, do I parry or is he going to feint it into a guard break? You know, he can kind of mess with you, and at higher level, he'll feint and hope that you went for like a light attack to interrupt him, and he'll parry it. So it's kind of getting a general concept of what the character is going for. And every character has, some characters have the same archetype, some characters are going to do the same type of thing. Like, the reason I was saying Warden and Centurion is they both have a general similar thing where he's going to try to, you know, punch you, he's going to charge a heavy to be unblockable, he's going to do stuff like that. So that's kind of an idea of what you want to aim for. Step 5 for me is watch higher level players. If you watch high level players, and it could be anyone, for me back in the day I watched Havoc quite often just to see what he was doing with Warden, see if there's something different, something that you didn't think about. And if you look up specifically games up against characters that you just hate playing against, you might see this player do stuff that you didn't even know you could do against a character that you don't like playing against. For the longest time, I hated the Warden Shigoki fight because he would just boot me over and over and over again because he had an armored light, and I just couldn't really get anything going. And if I tried to dodge into a bash, he just would boot me out of it. So he could just keep light attacking over and over. And if you don't have, like on Xbox, not the new Series X or anything like that, sometimes it was a little hard to actually, based on connection, actually parry that consistently. So it was very annoying for me. And watching Havoc gave me ideas of what I could do to mitigate that the best I could. So I would watch a couple high level people, see if there's anything that you can implement that they are doing, or for all you know, there's some tech and stuff that your character can do. There was also a raider tech I learned about by watching a higher level raider, where if you spun someone around when they were out of stamina near a wall to where they'd land close to you, you could get a heavy into a zone attack, which would do a crap load of damage, but it was way better than the typical dash in for a stunning tap and then zone. So you'd get a lot more damage so long as you could get them to hit the wall and they were close enough. And I believe it had to be on a certain side. I'm not 100%. I can't even remember that anymore. Number 6 is pretty basic again. A lot of these are pretty basic. They sound basic, but it takes time. And this is just play the game. You need to learn how other people are going to play the characters. You need to learn how people are going to play your character. You need to learn how people are going to play their characters. And the best tip I can give you guys is people become lazy. They autopilot. And due to this, one warden could play the exact same as the other. You'll oftentimes run into multiple wardens, like I gave the example of. You could run into, 20 wardens in one day, and 15 of them will play the exact same. And you can start getting a very good read as to what that player is going to do. And you could maybe have like 5 people that just do some weird stuff. You know what I mean? They're just partying. They're having a good time. They're doing whatever. You have no idea what they're going to do next. And those are the outliers, in my opinion. Many wardens have the same type of play style, and that's where For Honor, to me, doesn't become super difficult. If you learn the character, you've watched high level, many people play the same way. So the way you play is oftentimes the same way they're going to play. So in mirror matches, you have a pretty good idea of what they want to do, and they have a pretty good idea what you want to do. But those are really the only basic tips you can give for a game like this, short of talking about, which I don't think these need to be talked about. The game's been out for so long at this point. Most people know exactly what they want. In terms of like feats and stuff like that, these, unless they've changed them recently, it's always kind of the same stuff. Most characters have the same ones. The only other thing that you can really talk about that's unique to this game are executions, and you want to have a fast one on so you can get health quickly. You want a slower-esque one, not super slow. But if you notice, you get a certain amount of health back for certain executions. You want some of the ones that will give you a massive amount of health if you have time to get it in a 4v4. But you also want one that's really quick. And some characters have very fast ones because you want to get straight back in the fight. Or if there's a tag thing going on, you want to just knock him out, move on. Sometimes it's better just to unlock, not even execute, just move on. But sometimes you want that tiny sliver of extra health you can get. As far as everything else goes, it's not like there's any, unless there is, I don't know. There's no emote tech, there's no real effects tech or anything. Signatures are, just the ending, aesthetics or the rest. Back when the game first released, all of these like perks and stuff really, really mattered, and it was really important as to what perks and stuff you had. But nowadays, if I'm being completely honest with people that are getting into the game, it's not super important anymore. Like, yes, your weapons and stuff can give you things like Devour and all that kind of stuff. You can get stuff, right? And they all have their own unique perk that they give you. Some characters have very good perks, some characters have mediocre perks. For Warden, I aim to get Devour, Headhunter, and Fresh Focus. That's just what I've always kind of used. Other people I've seen run other things, but the only reason I run Devour is you get a little bit more health on an execution. If you have a fast one, that extra health sometimes helps, but it's 10 health. That's one light attack. Now, granted, that's one light attack that you could survive, but, Headhunter, you get more health. That's pretty nice. And then Fresh Focus, I think, is probably the better one. Counter guard breaks, blocks, and parries regenerate your stamina. I think that's pretty important for a 4v4, especially if you run out of stamina. To get that stamina, you need it when you're out of stamina. And as it points out, when you're out of stamina, you get stamina back faster. That one's the most important for me. But again, I don't think any of these are too crazy. I know Lawbringer has better perks than Warden, because every character obviously is slightly different, so everyone gets slightly different stuff. But for him, Last Stand, gain 40% damage reduction. It's always very, very good. Vengeful Barrier, you gain a temporary 25 health shield. That's, again, very good. Bastion, if you're playing in a 4v4 mode, when in a zone or carrying a banner, 10% damage resistance. Again, that's very good. But you also have Bulk Up based on Renown, it increases your maximum health. So I think characters that have these particular ones are better. But in terms of learning the game, you don't really need to get into the nitty-gritty. That's more of you've been playing the game, you have a good understanding of it, so you want to improve a little bit more. So just a quick recap before I end the video. Number 1, stay calm. Breathe. That way you can focus. Number 2, you got to choose a character that you actually enjoy, not just, unless you enjoy the meta, of course. Everyone has a different thing of enjoyment. Choose a character you actually like. Number 2, practice a little bit, learn what your character can kind of do, watch tutorials if you want, but you kind of want a good understanding of what your character is capable of. Number 3, practice, fight some bots, get used to the feel of your character. It's one thing to know how fast your attack is, it's another thing to feel how fast your attack is, right? Number 4, learn some matchups, mainly the characters you're going to see all the time. Is my recommendation, because there's no point in studying a character that you're not going to see but once a week. You can, obviously, if you don't think it's hard to study all the characters, go for it. And number 5, watch a couple high-level players, and they don't have to be super high-level. It could just be someone that you enjoy watching that plays the particular character. Number 6 is just play the game. You have to learn what people are going to do, and remember, people autopilot, people get lazy, and you can take full advantage of that if you're really trying to win. But that's all I got for you guys. If you have any more tips, please leave them down below. This was definitely more made for people that are kind of new to the game, trying to learn it, trying to pick it up. So please, if anyone's got some good tips down below, let everybody know. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe. 98% of you are not subscribed. I actually checked that for the first time in my entire YouTube career. It's been like it's been years. I don't know how long I've been doing this. Very off and on though. But anyway, like, sub. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.